Barbara Becker. I am a Southwest Airlines meteorologist. We are a group of 12, so it's half the size of Delta's meteorology group. But yes, we do. We work 9-hour shifts. We have 3 people on shift at one time generally through the heat of the day, and 1 person on the overnight shift. And we do not write tabs for National Weather Service offices, so the tabs that you all write are what we dispatch our flights on. So what you guys do are very impactful to our operation as a whole. But just some quick facts about Southwest. Pre-COVID, we were, in 2019, we had over 130 million customers flying on us. We were doing 4,000 flights generally every day. We are the largest carrier in the United States domestically. In current state, in 2020, obviously everything shut down. We did start growing, which was awesome. We added 18 new stations. One of them was directly along the Gulf Coast, Destin. So that was pretty awesome. We also added Sarasota. That was during COVID. We also added Hawaii. Now we're going to over 120 destinations in the United States as well as internationally. Our longest flight is Phoenix to Lihue, and our shortest flight is going from Denver to Colorado Springs. And so I just wanted to highlight generally our footprint in the directly Gulf Coast. Our biggest station is going to be Houston Hobby, directly along the coast. Tampa and New Orleans are also pretty big for us. So this is just our daily flight count for March. Hobby has the most out of everyone, almost 150 flights per day in and out of Houston Hobby. Like I said, Tampa, we have a pretty large footprint, 72 flights. To be a mega station for us, you have to have, I think, over 80 flights. So Tampa is very close to being mega for us. We have 18 mega stations that have over 80 flights per day. New Orleans is also a pretty big footprint. The rest of the Gulf Coast, we have a small footprint, but if we're going to have impactful weather, even if it's one of those smaller stations, we care. That's something that our customers are very worried about. So, but obviously the bigger stations have bigger impact on our operation as a whole. And if I were to add Dallas Love, Austin Airport, Atlanta, and Orlando that kind of plug in the southeast, South Central region, I'm sure we would be close to 1,000 flights per day just in this southeast, South Central area. So very large footprint here. And then this is just a snapshot of our international stations. A lot of our southeastern, South Central stations do go down to these international places, so we are crossing the Gulf. So that's cool. You guys have all that information on the buoy data, like we heard yesterday, and then the AWAS. It's very cool when we're doing forecasting for the hurricanes and things like that. And then this is just also a snapshot of where we're going from CONUS down to those international stations. So Tampa, we do have flights to Havana, and I think we do have one in Cancun. I'm not going to list it here, but Havana, we go internationally there. And then we have a very large footprint in Cancun as well, with Austin and Houston going down to Cancun. So this is where we work, the NOC, the Network Operations Control Center. It's the big blue room. When I first got hired, someone told me that it was blue to help your eyes, but now we have blue blocking glasses. I'm not really sure if that's the case. It's a cool room. It looks exactly the same at 3 a.m. versus 3 p.m. 3 a.m. is probably a little quieter, but it looks the same. There are no windows, but the blue room is kind of cool. So the NOC as a whole, our primary customers, weather impacts everything, but the primary impacts are going to be air traffic controller, ATC. We do have a team, air traffic management group, that directly talks to and works with ATC, and we directly communicate with them. Dispatch is our primary customer. They are who we talk to constantly. Mainly, we talk to the managers of dispatch, which are called superintendents of dispatch. They are the ones who cancel and delay your flight. We provide them the weather information to make that decision on the status of their flight. Secondary customers who we also communicate with, who are also in the NOC, who listen to our briefings every single day, people like social media, our customer service, as well as maintenance control. We've been dealing with a plane in Atlanta for the longest time. Something about there can't be clouds, I think, throughout the flight, which is absolutely ridiculous. And it's been a real pain in the butt to try to get the The plane. I think it's more than there can be clouds, but we are in constant communication with maintenance to try to get this plane out of Atlanta. And then also other operational leaders. So what we do as a whole, we are forecasting for the whole CONUS, as well as our different international stations and in Hawaii. Since we're not writing TAPs, we're mainly focused on like the strategic planning of the operation. So the superintendent systems that I talked about, besides, we're talking to them, giving them impact times of weather and helping them decide what to do for how the operation is going to run that day. So again, we're not deciding anything, we're giving them the weather information to decide how the operation will run. And we not only we're talking with all of our customers constantly throughout the day, but we also do 3 times daily briefings where we're giving a high-level overview about the major impacts across the operation and mostly focusing on those 18 megas. But again, if Pensacola is going to be in dense fog or something, or obviously a hurricane, we're going to be focusing on those smaller stations as well. And then when we do have winter storms, we are also giving extra meetings, as well as hurricanes. We name winter storms. We go off the names of the Weather Channel. It would be awesome if the National Weather Service named winter storms to help with communication. And then we also help ground dots. We don't do TAPs, but we do for National Weather Service places, but we do station forecasts for 4 of our megas. We do Orlando, Chicago, Denver, and Baltimore. We do those twice daily if there's significant weather occurring, and it's kind of like a stoplight forecast for if there's going to be low impacts, everything's green, or great, yellow impacts for moderate impacts, and then red for high impacts we're going to be canceled potentially, and significant impacts if it's red. We also are weather watching for our sprint stations and sending out different alerts when we have significant weather, so like strong winds, wind chills that are below -10, and we send out damaging wind potential, which corresponds to when the National Weather Service issues the tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch. So our alert shouldn't be the airport's first indication something's occurring, but it is like an extra safety net of, hey, this is happening. We also newly, in the last 2 years, we started this as a holiday outlook, but it has become an everyday outlook where everyone loves it, we do a 7-day weather outlook for all 18 of our megas, which 7 days is kind of ridiculous, and our customers know beyond the 4 days things are going to change, and they totally understand that, but they want to have that information just so they're aware that something significant could be coming down the pipe. We're much more worried about the first 3 days, and we have a meeting with ground ops talking about what are our significant hotspots for all 18 megas.
So, do you use the tropical weather outlooks and stuff, like the 5-day outlooks then, for during hurricane season, for planning in Houston or Tampa?
Yes, but then also we read your long-term forecasts. We also look at models ourselves and kind of figure out what the hotspots are. It's another stoplight forecast. So we have same thing: green, yellow, red. Red is everyone is freaking out. So that's new, and we do it every day. Which again, it's kind of interesting. We've been talking about the stoplight forecasts that the Aviation Weather Center is interested about, and longer-term forecasting in the world of aviation. We are currently kind of doing that, but more of impacts directly at the airport. And then tactically focused, we do issue TAFs, but we don't do TAFs for National Weather Service offices. So we're doing TAFs for Fort Collins Airport, for an alternate possibility for Denver, especially in the summertime. Also, if we're moving aircraft for maintenance or for them to be retired to Victorville, California, we're going to be issuing a TAF for that. So it's also interesting to hear yesterday about how the process of asking for a new TAF. We currently do those, since the National Weather Service does not do those there. And then we are also looking at past weather events and creating reports on what was happening when something significant occurred, like an aircraft damage or due to hail or some lightning strike or something. Also turbulence events, severe turbulence events, when we have a flight attendant get injured or unfortunately passengers under heavy turbulence. We're doing reports on that. And then also I've gotten calls from customer service in like Las Vegas saying that a customer is saying that their bag was wet and they were curious when it could have possibly gotten wet because it landed in Vegas. So talking with them about that sort of thing. And then we're participating in other like industry groups. We love doing things like this, getting to talk to the National Weather Service, SWAs, and the CEM wet team. We have involvement in that and things like that. We love the outreach and communication with you all. And then our partnership with you all. So we are constantly in NWS chat. We all have accounts, we're all in it. So it's awesome when your offices are active in there, putting information out there when there is active weather. It's very, very helpful for us. Also, we do have your number, so we do like to call when we have questions or if we want to talk about confidence of a forecast and difficult forecast. We do love to do that. And then we, as well as our dispatchers, look at your forecast discussions and your point forecasts and really everything on your National Weather Service page we're constantly looking at to help us better help our customers. Also, when there's like a severe weather event, any sort of severe reports that you guys get and put them in chat, that's also very helpful for us, and especially with hail, knowing if it's coming, going to be hitting our airport and things like that. And then TAFs, like I said, your TAF is what we use to dispatch our flights. So that is our most important, most used product that you guys do. We love our collaboration with you all. And I know I've called to kind of talk about confidence in your TAF, and we've always had great relations, and having conversations about confidence in TAF is really important for us. And then finally, talking about the national centers, so like being in agreement on like your TAP aligning with what the Hurricane Center has or with the SPC products, having everything aligned and consistent is also very important in our messaging and trying to help our dispatchers out. And one other thing I would say about TAPs, a way that can help us is kind of what we talked about yesterday in terms of amending when you think things are changing, as well as trying not to have a ton of VCTS, which I know we kind of hammered home yesterday, and the whole like trying to nail down the time frame. It doesn't even matter if it's not correct, the time frame and the tempo, but helping our dispatchers plan at that tempo is going to be very, in terms of thunderstorms, is very, very helpful. And then just other topics, Tampa was talking about that earlier, but those storm briefings that you guys send out when we get hurricanes or big severe events. I know Fort Worth office sends out extra emails. We love those, and if we are currently on your DG and we fly to you, please, we'd love to be added to those extra emergency manager emails to kind of, again, get more information about what you guys are thinking of potential impacts and things like that. And then, Sam kind of talked on it, but kind of knowing airport minimums and the different costs and limitations, your familiarity with that, with your specific airport is also very helpful in terms of tailoring the TAP to the airport. And I know you guys have other customers, so everything can be perfect for us, but just mindful of that. And then we were talking about ASOS and AWOS, but those outages, any information y'all have is always very helpful for us. This is a map of all of our different turbulence events that happened from 2018 to, I think this actually goes through 2022. But these are all, the little circles are turbulence events that we've had that generally resulted in an injury of a flight attendant. So we've had quite a few. Most of them are in the state of Florida / along the Gulf Coast, as well as for Denver. Mountain wave is a huge thing for us right now. Mountain wave turbulence been quite a problem for the Denver area, as well as around Reno. And then when Santa Ana winds are picking up, we get a ton of severe turbulence events from that due to the wind shear. And those pie charts, so over 50% of our turbulence events involve in an injury of a flight attendant or a passenger. But that's all I have. Thank you so much for having us, and we love this connection with the National Weather Service and everything you guys do for us. So thank you.